welcome back. We're here to preview Wednesday night's Premier League game between West Brom and Swansea. That will start with the Baggies sitting 15th in the table after a 2-2 draw at Burnley.
Yeah, it was a decent point in the end, wasn't it? After going 2-0 down, obviously, I think all 4 goals in that game were headers. So that's obviously an interesting statistic for that particular game. And I think after going 2-0 down away from home, to come back and get a point is obviously not the worst result in the world. I think Darren Fletcher coming in, captaining the team, that was an interesting decision, wasn't it, to give him the captain's armband. Still, Chris Brunt played. Obviously, he's been the captain times this season. And I think the interesting thing with that was obviously Brown Adai getting the equaliser, and they tried to chip him off, didn't they, in January. He was very close to going with Colton Cole coming in the other way, but as soon as that broke down, Brown Adai stayed, and obviously I think it was a record sign, wasn't he, 10 million in the summer, so him to get off the mark was decent. They could have won it as well. Berahino had that excellent chance later on, it was blocked on the line, and that had just made it, that little bit better. But I think Pulis will look at the character of his team showed. To go only 2-0 down at Burnley, who really needed the points as well, and to get a draw, it's decent, but they need to start picking up wins.
Definitely. You talked about a day there and Berahino. Obviously, Berahino was left on the bench but then came on for an HB. I think it was after just 15 minutes. So, obviously, the fact that Adai scored the goal, it'd be interesting to see what Pulis goes with, because I think he'll probably start Berahino in this one. But obviously, it's now just 1 win in 8 in the league for West Brom. And like I said at the start, sitting 15th in the table, just 3 points above the bottom 3. So, even though Pulis, since he's gone in there, people saying he's done a really good job, but their league form hasn't been too good. They're still struggling in the league a little bit, and just 3 points off the bottom 3. So, still a long way to go this season, and they're not out of it at all, definitely not.
Moving on to Swansea, on the weekend, 1-1 draw, home to Sunderland. Not the best result in the world, especially as they won at Southampton the week before, and they'd be having to build on that. And 1-0 down to Sunderland with Jermaine Defoe's effort, and Key scored, obviously, against his club he was on loan at. So, 1-1 draw, not the worst result in the world, but it keeps them sort of... They haven't really won enough games at home, have they, this season? The home form's been good. Obviously, I remember some performances at home, the Chelsea one where they got hammered, and the football's been questioned at times this season, whether they overplay in areas of the field, and it'd be interesting to see what their hopes are for the second half of the season. Like I said, sitting in 9th, it's been a decent season, but they'll be keen to continue that.
They're only 5 points behind Liverpool in 7th. Obviously, Liverpool dropping points against Everton, but they'll still be without Gylfi Sigurdsson for this game, his final game of his suspension. Obviously, he's been a big blow for them. Obviously, losing Bonnie to the Africa Cup of Nations and City as well. So they've been without their 2 best players from the start of the season in recent weeks. But it was good to see Jefferson Montero come off the bench. He came on at half time against Sunderland. Obviously, he's been out since Boxing Day, I think it is, so over a month out, because he was playing really well for them in the first half of the season. Sort of broke into the team in sort of November, December time, and he was looking good. And Gary Monk will be delighted to see him back in the side.
We've got some tough games coming up as well. I think this makes it even more important. I think they play United, Spurs and Liverpool in 3 of the next 4 in the league. So, like I say, you mentioned their hopes for the season. I think they sort of showed their hopes when they sold Bonnie in January. They're thinking if they're going to push for the Europa League place, they probably need to keep him, didn't they? And obviously they didn't. I think you mentioned it last week about whether they're looking in the summer to reinvest that money. I think they already are. I think Hugh Jenkins said he'd already got his eye on the summer. So, it'd be interesting to see what the hopes are. If they can finish in the top half, I think that'd be a decent season. But like I say, they're not going to go down. They're probably not going to finish in Europe. So, it's going to be that quarter season.
Yeah, so it's quite a tough game to call this one. What's your score prediction?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, isn't it? I think West Brom obviously back at home. Their home form's not been too good this season. Only won 3 at home, lost 6. So, it's not been great. But I think they'll just nick it here. I think Swansea, I'd say they've been a bit inconsistent on the road. So I think West Brom, nick it 2-1.
2-1. I'm actually going to go for a draw here. I think Pulis, try and shut up shop try and stop Swansea playing. I'm actually going to say it's going to be a 0-0 draw. So got 1 home win and a 0-0 draw. Thanks for watching.